What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video, and in today's video we are going to be ranking every season of Cobra Kai. We're gearing up for season 6 part 1, which will be dropping later this month, July 18th. Super excited for it. And yeah, this is the time where I start again making some Cobra Kai content, gearing up, getting ready. So yeah, we are going to be ranking every season from my least favorite to my favorite. Let's get right into it. Coming in last place for my least favorite season, I have to go Cobra Kai Season 2. Now, Cobra Kai Season 2 is a fun season. It's a huge step up from Season 1 in terms of the stakes are higher. We're getting more people and characters involved. But this season, in my opinion, just feels the least focused. It feels like we have nothing we're building up to. We don't really know what we're fighting for, really. And every character is just starting to become very unlikable. Who are good guys who we were rooting for in the first season, Miguel and all them, and the Cobra Kai kids, and Johnny, slowly throughout the season just start to become more and more unlikable and become bad guys. And then we start rooting for Daniel and Robbie and them. This season is very teenage-based, very teenage-focused. We deal with a lot of teenage drama, which I'm not too big of a fan of. It just doesn't feel important. And it's so much less interesting than fighting for the soul of the valley, essentially, as they like to put it. So it's like you have this unfocused, very teenage-based subplot, or just plot in general, and it's just weak. For the highlights, though, Kreese making his big return is great. Kreese is better than ever. He's evil, he's sinister, he's conniving. And overall, he's just a snake, no pun intended, but he's a snake is what he is. And he manipulates Johnny so much that he turns Johnny into the villain, which Johnny spends a lot of the first season trying not to be. And so this season really focuses, again, on turning good characters bad. And because those characters are turned bad, that we rooted for in the first season, we kind of are forced to root for Daniel and Robbie and all them, which we don't really want to root for them because they themselves have their issues and things like that. So you're almost caught in a situation where you don't know who to root for. And every character is just becoming extremely unlikable, and it's just hard to root for somebody. Tori Nichols is also introduced in this season. Good character, definitely glad they introduced her. She's a little she's a little two-dimensional in this season. Later on the line, she becomes third-dimensional when they, expand, their, her character and things like that. But as of right now in season 2, she's a little two-dimensional. She's just kind of your average mean girl bitch, and quite an unlikable character. There's some good fight scenes. Obviously, the finale fight scene is great. The fight in Coyote Creek is awesome. The tension between Miguel and Hawk building up is really good. Hawk is gradually turning into a bigger asshole than ever. Hawk's arc this season is pretty good. How he goes from just being a good kid in the beginning and just full dark evil in the end of the season. Really enjoyed that part. But yeah, overall, the season just feels the least focused and feels the least important. Next up on this list, we have Cobra Kai Season 1, the very first season. Now, this is a lot of people's favorite season. Not mine. This season's just got... it's the building ground, right? It's building everything up. It's making Cobra Kai, great. And, it's building up our characters, and it's building a foundation. It's cementing that foundation so they can build off of that in later seasons. What this season does really good is introducing these characters like Miguel and, Aisha and Dimitri, Hawk, all these characters, like Robbie, Sam, all these characters, and building them up throughout the season, right? And it's got a very clear path. You know where we're going. It's very focused, which is good. Very focused on that All Valley tournament. We know that's where it's leading. This season, is very reminiscent to the first Karate Kid. I think the reason I put this season in this place, though, is it doesn't necessarily do anything wrong for me. It just doesn't give enough for me to put it above the other 3 seasons. For me to go, okay, this is big enough and fun enough to put it over the next 3 seasons. I just can't do that. There just isn't enough going on for me to really be like, oh yes, this is so good. Like, it's so great. It is a great starting point. Great first season. Cements the foundation fantastically. But when I go back and watch this compared to the other 3 seasons on this list, I just do not have as much fun watching it. I get more bored with this season. And it's just because simply there's not as much going on. I also think, I think the ending was a little bit, I don't know if I want to say underwhelming. I think it wasn't underwhelming, but I don't know. I feel like it just was something missing about it for me personally. As it kind of turned the hero of the first season into a bad guy. It's interesting, it's good, but it's not necessarily something you should do when you're building up this character, Miguel, to be a hero. Just turn them, evil at the end. I don't want to say evil, but, have them reach into that dark side. Overall, though, really, really good first season. Like I said, strong first season. Johnny is fantastic in this. You got Daniel kind of being a little bit of I don't want to say an asshole, but, he's a little full of himself in this season. And it all works. It all works perfectly. It all fits together so well. It helps reemerge or submerge us into that world again. It helps reimmerse us into that world. We see all the old locations, like golf and stuff. You hear the cruel summer music, the school, everything. It just really puts us and sinks us back into that world. And it's great. You feel like you're in the Karate Kid universe once again. It's a perfect way to start off this show. Simple as that. Next up on this list, we have Cobra Kai Season 4. Now, Cobra Kai Season 4 is a really good season, but I think it's one of the ones that aged the least good. I have quite a few issues with Season 4, actually. I think my main issue with Season 4 is the season gets kind of boring at points compared to the next 2 on this list. Especially with the stuff with Miyagi-Do. Johnny and Daniel's bickering gets very tiresome very fast. It gets very old and very tiring to hear. The stuff with Kreese and Terry and Cobra Kai is so good, so entertaining. I really wish they would have focused more on that throughout the season, because that's where the entertaining stuff was. The stuff with Miyagi-Do, that crap got so boring and so old. And the characters just kept bickering, and it's like they became so unrootable. Like, you did not want to root for them. Another problem I have with this season is they spend the whole season building Robbie up and making him to be this really strong, good character. Like, they literally start off with the season with him soloing the entire Cobra Kai dojo. The entire dojo. He solos them all. That's how they start him off in the season. They build him up to be the best fighter. And then he loses the All Valley tournament in the end to Hawk. Arguably a B-level fighter in the Cobra Kai universe. How are you gonna build up my man Robbie throughout the whole season just to have him lose at the end? That would have been like if Miguel lost the All Valley tournament at the end of the first season. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you do that? I get it, they're trying to make it part of his arc, but no. They literally built Robbie up the whole season, and then at the last second went, nah, you know what, we're gonna make Hawk win instead. No sense was made there. Made no sense. They also, another thing with Tori's ending, they screwed her out of the win too. Why have Sam, why have it be a dirty win? Sorry. Why make the win dirty? Like, I don't understand. This show has kind of this obsession where they like to make the same people win over and over and over. When it comes to Miguel and Robbie, they always make Miguel win. When it comes to Sam and Tori, Sam always wins. It's like, it's just so repetitive, and you really feel it in this season. You really feel it. This was the season I really got fed up with that. And I was just like, all right, I'm done. I'm so done. Like, this was really the season I got fed up with that. And yeah, I just got really tired of it. The All Valley tournament was great. You know, there was like a bunch of fights as the main event. You know, like it's like the ending of the show. Yeah, this was the first season where you had like 5 or 6 different main fights. It was great. You know, some of the training sequences leading up to it were great. You know, I love the whole arc is, you know, Terry is slowly throughout the season getting crazier and crazier, and you can tell he's becoming more unhinged, and he's just losing it, and he's getting so sick of taking orders from Kreese. He's just about to burst, and finally, that's the end of, I think it was episode 8, maybe? He finally just fucking bursts, and he beats the shit out of Stingray. It's so good. I love it. It's good stuff, right? You know? I also love how it finishes off the season with Kreese going to jail. Sets up perfectly and very nicely for the next season. So some really good stuff there. But again, I think my main issues with this is just having the same people win over and over, and the Miyagi-Do bickering gets very old. For the runner-up, we have Cobra Kai Season 3. Now, this season, I could really interchange with Season 5, and it does swap sometimes. Sometimes I'll feel a little bit more towards Season 3. Sometimes I'll feel a little bit more towards Season 5. As of right now, I'm feeling Season 5 a little more. I think I'm a little bit more burnt out on Season 5. I've been watching it a lot recently because I have the DVD of the whole season back there, and I've kind of burnt out on it a little bit. I've seen it so many times and things like that, but Cobra Kai Season 3, I remember when this came out, so long anticipated too. Anticipated for so long. It was like 2.5 years since the last season, and finally came out, and I thought it was great. I thought it shit all over Season 2. This season is so realistic. It feels so much more visceral. And that's always the best stuff. The more real it feels, the more relatable it can be. The more visceral, the more relatable. Always. And so you can really feel the realism in this season. You know, Robbie's getting sent to juvie. You know, Miguel's trying to recover. Hawk is just brutally beating the shit out of these kids, and it's really good stuff. Kreese is taking over, and you can really feel the tension and the danger in this season, and it's great. It's really good stuff. This is by far Hawk's best season. He is actually intimidating. He's actually finally coming into his own. Because, you know, in Season 1 and 2, he was a good fighter, but he was always behind Robbie, Sam, even Tori, Miguel. And then in this season, this is finally when he started to rise up the list a little bit and get up there more towards on their level. And this is really where he got some real credit. This is by far Hawk's best season. He's really good in this season. Kreese, fantastic as well in this season. This is also his best season. He is just a fucking cold-hearted son of a bitch. He doesn't care who he hurts, as long as he's getting the job done. You know, Johnny's being Johnny as always being funny. You know, just doing his thing with Miguel, trying to help Miguel walk again. My main issue with this season is the absence and lack of Robbie Keane. He is not in this season very much. I think he's only in about 5 episodes, which sucks. He spends most of his time in juvie getting his ass handed to him. He has his own little side arc, but it's until the last 2 episodes, it's away from everything important that's going on. You know, this season is a tad bit unfocused, I'll admit, because there's really nothing going on. We're not looking toward anything. You know, there's nothing in the horizon. We're just focusing on life, and, you know, there's just not much going on. But then you'll have an occurrence where Cobra Kai intervenes and they do something horrible, like they will jump one of the Miyagi-Do guys or beat the crap out. And there's just this lurking feeling of Cobra Kai, and you can just feel them throughout the whole season, and it just feels like they're watching no matter what, and it's scary. It's an intimidating feeling. So Cobra Kai is extremely intimidating in this season. Very good stuff. I kind of, you know, I like how, you know, at the end, you know, they all kind of join together. I think the finale's great, how they're kind of building up to Hawk turning to the good side again. I feel like this whole season, it kind of builds up Hawk's arc. and kind of completes it. You know, I feel like that's kind of I feel like this really was Hawk's season. You know, he did the most in this season. You know, I like that Tori's still kind of doing her thing. You know, she's feeling a little conflicted, but also was really getting fucked over by everybody she thought she cared about. And, you know, I love how at the end, you know, Robbie finally turns to the dark side, if you will. He's like the Anakin Skywalker of the Cobra Kai verse. And it all works really well. And the Kreese flashbacks were good. On rewatch, they don't hold up as well. But overall, really solid. This is a fantastic season, one of my favorite seasons of television ever. And coming in at number 1, we have Cobra Kai Season 5. Just an amazing, fantastic season. You know, everything from Chosen and Daniel finally working together to take down Terry Silver, to Robbie and Miguel working out their beef. Robbie still should have won that fight. Would have been a perfect moment if Robbie was about to knock Miguel off the balcony, but then stopped and said, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. But again, you guys know how the show is. They love to make the same people win over and over and over and over again. I love how they reworked Stingray into the story. I think that was cool. I like, you know, I feel like he didn't really have much to do in this season either, but I like that he had that like redemption arc at the end, and he came back and he did the right thing. You know, the final battle. This is by far the best final battle in the Cobra Kai dojo. You know, everybody's just kicking the shit out of each other, and then finally, you know, we get to see the crane kick at the end, and then, you know, seeing Johnny and Chosen fight together, so badass. You know, there was no characters that I felt that were left out, like how Robbie was in season 3. Every character got a moment to shine here. Every character, you know, flooded the season. It was great. You know, not as many fights this season, which to be honest, I was okay with. You know, not every season has to be flooded with fights. The one thing I didn't care for in this season, though, was the entire Mexico storyline. It felt just so pointless. Like, they had Miguel go to Mexico for what? To find his dad and then have his dad be a dick? Like, we already knew this was going to happen anyway. The whole Mexico storyline was so pointless. They could have left that out and nothing would have changed. So I thought that was so pointless. But I guess it was a way for maybe Robbie and Miguel to start slightly bonding. I feel like Hawk Hawk didn't really have much to do this season. Not gonna lie. You know, he was there. He was definitely in the spotlight, but he just didn't really do all that much. You know, he was just kind of there. Same with Dimitri. You know, I like Johnny trying to get his life on track, you know, getting a job, and he's not into this whole, he wants out of the karate war, until it really takes Daniel's life getting ripped apart for them all to come together and fight together and work together to take down the big bad, which is Terry Silver. You know, I love the introduction of like Kim Da-eun, and you know how they're working Tori to the bone, and you know, and finally even she says I've had enough, and then switches sides at the end. And basically it's a story about how Cobra Kai has become so damn bad that almost nobody can defend it anymore. Everybody is just either leaving or just wants to take it out, and they do enough to overthrow Cobra Kai, you know. And that's it, you know. Then they had the Saikai Taikai tryouts at the end, which, you know, kind of made it so that with season 6, you know, Cobra Kai winning was pointless because there is no Cobra Kai anymore. You know, all the fighters that were in Cobra Kai either are done karate or coming over to the main dojo, Miyagi-Do. So that kind of win was a bit pointless, but it was almost like you had two like main fights. You had the Saikai Taikai tryouts, and then you had the actual ending fight, which was great. This season was jam-packed with so many fun things and themes. I think the latter half, the second 5 episodes from like 5 to 10 were a lot better than 1 to 4, personally. Still a great, fantastic season though. Again, this may be my favorite season of television ever. Just such a good season. Love it to death. Fantastic stuff. I hope you guys did enjoy this ranking. If you did, make sure to just drop a like, subscribe, share this with your friends, comment. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.